speaking to you from the cabinet room at 10 Downing Street.
For months, indeed for years, the shadow of impending conflict in Europe has been ever present. No stone has been left unturned, no road unexplored in the patient search for peace.
Deputies, men of the German Reichstag, in this grave period, I speak to you, the representatives of the German nation.
Unless we hear from them by 11 o'clock that they were prepared at once to withdraw their troops from Poland, that a state of war would exist between us. I have to tell you now that no such undertaking has been received, and that consequently this country is at war with Germany.
Canada has already answered that call.
I have to make these remarks because this struggle, which became obviously unavoidable in the early months of this year, and in which the German Reich, above all, is called upon to lead. If I were to ignore my duties and my conscience, I would be ignoring my country.
His actions show convincingly that there is no chance of expecting that this man will ever give up his practice of using force to gain his will. He can only be stopped by force.
The struggle became obviously unavoidable in the early months of this year, and in which the German Reich, above all, is called upon to lead, also greatly transcends our people's interests. When the Greeks stood against the Persians, they defended more than just Greece. When the Romans stood against the Carthaginians, they defended more than just Rome. When Roman and Germanic people stood against the Huns, they defended more than just the West. And when our Spanish heroes stood against Africa, they defended not just Spain, but all of Europe as well. In the same way, Germany today does not fight just for itself, but for our entire country.
The people of Canada will, I know, face the days of stress and strain with calm and resolute courage. There is no home in Canada, no family, and no individual whose fortunes and freedom are not bound up in the present struggle. I appeal to my fellow Canadians to unite in a national effort to save from destruction all that makes life worth living, and to preserve for future generations those liberties and institutions which others have bequeathed to us.
May God bless you all. May he defend the right. It is the evil things we should be fighting against. Brute force, bad faith, injustice, oppression, and persecution. And against them, I am certain that the right will prevail.
Shawinigan Falls. Me and my buddy here left school and went to work when we were 13. The lumber camps. Now, well, we leave there and join the army. 18. No, we didn't want to wait till we were 19. When you're 19, they call you up during wartime. When you get 19, you get a letter to go to Fredericton if you're from this area. And yeah, you're in. You're automatically conscripted. Not much of a choice where you go from there. That's the other thing. See, by joining up, you have a bit of choice. As far as what unit you're with, that is. See, if you're conscripted, you could be conscripted here, but in a BC unit way out on the coast. Nobody likes that.
John Osborne, 18, Tabor, Alberta. Oh, I grew up working sugar fields with my brothers. In my family, we were 4 generations of farmers. Some of us even went down to the United States. My old man, well, we we didn't exactly have a lot of career opportunities. But the forces represent adventure, traveling, going to Europe. I've heard people talking about Europe, and I thought to myself that I would go there one day. So this is how I satisfied my curiosity. You betcha, I'm ready to kick some Nazi ass.
John's only enlisting because he wants to get off the farm. Papa went crazy when John told him. He comes into the back of the barn and John delivers the news. Papa went whiter than normal, white as a ghost. We all stood there staring at each other like we're all ghosts. Papa rages that John can't go. He needs help on the farm. John turns to me and says, "Barbara will help, won't you, Barbara?" John doesn't like farming. It's like a life sentence to him. Maggie Bartlett, 21. Commissioned Officer, Royal Canadian Medical Corps. 3 years training in Britain, sir. Taplow. Yes, I'm ready for the continent. #1 General Hospital in Sicily? Yes, sir. No, I don't mind tents. Tents are like camping, and well, Canadians love camping.
Margaret Brooke, 25. Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan. Trained in Ontario. I want to serve as a Navy nursing sister. Yes, in the Navy, ma'am. Oh, well, I want to see the ocean after all that Saskatchewan dirt. Nova Scotia? Nova Scotia would be great. Thanks so much, ma'am.
Brigitte Eich, Berlin, Germany. My friends call me Giddy. I'm 15 and I keep a diary to improve my stenography skills as a trainee secretary. I'm very worried about this perm the hairdresser gave me. It really is quite a frightened, and I don't know how I can go to work with it. Margot and I went to the Admiral Place Cinema to see Meine Herren Sonne. It was a lovely film. We were stopped and chatted up by some soldiers on the way home. They were looking for Jews. Jews all over town are being taken away, including that very good tailor across the road.
Rebecca Gerst, 14. I am the younger of 2 children born to Jewish parents in the city of Berlin. My father is a wounded German army veteran of World War I. His trade is that he is a tailor. My mother is a housewife. We were forced out of school when the Nazis took power in '33. We went to an all-Jewish school until the Nazis burned it. My brother left for safety in England, but there was only enough money for one ticket. Fritz is my brother's best friend and has been my neighbor since we were small. I stay here in Berlin, waiting to see what will happen. Waiting to see if we'll be sent to forced labor like my father. Some say waiting is the worst part, but not for me. For me, the worst part is this. The yellow star. A star to show the world that I'm alone. Has God forsaken me?
Hans Becker, 17, Hamburg, Germany. I joined the HJ, or the Hitler Youth, when I was 8. You know, I like the organization. Books were never really my specialty, but I like the activities. You know, they keep you busy in the HJ, but man, it's the best club I've ever belonged to. I spent last summer on the farm, helping with the harvest. It's good to get out of the city, learn about hard labor. I've sworn allegiance to the blood banner. In the presence of this blood banner, which represents our Fuhrer, I swear to devote all my energies and my strength to the savior of our country, Adolf Hitler. I am willing and ready to give up my life.
Rudolf Falk, 16. Yes, of course I'm a member of the HJ. Is there a single German boy who isn't? It is the law, after all. No, except for those Jewish boys, of course. I was there, you know, in September, when the Nuremberg rally took place. It had the theme, Gross Deutschland, Greater Germany, with nearly 700,000 members participating during the week-long festival. But the most exciting day, the day I will never forget, on September 10th, over 80,000 Hitler Youth marched into the city stadium, performing parade maneuvers which we had practiced for an entire year, ending with the grand finale in which we spelled the name Adolf Hitler in the grandstand. It was amazing. I'd never been part of anything so amazing. But after, Hitler spoke of his adolescence, and I remember what he told us. You, my youth, are our nation's most precious guarantee for a great future, and you are destined to be the leaders of a glorious new order under the supremacy of National Socialism. Never forget that one day you will rule the world.
Older leaders of the HJ have been called up to active duty. This is exciting because now I get to command a division. 500 boys, 10 to 14, are under my command, and I'm only 16 years old. The opportunities to serve in the Waffen SS or the Panzer Division are exciting. I promised my neighbor, my friend Levi, that I'd look out for his sister. But there's nothing I can do. She's one Jew in thousands who will save this war doing menial labor in a camp. It might be the safest place for her. I was reading this booklet in occupied Poland. German authorities have put Jews to work, providing with clean hospitals, set up soup kitchens for Jews, providing with newspaper and vocational training. We're not like the lies spread about us in World War I. Company, attention! Company, turn! Company, quick! March!
Okay, let's get this done. I've got work tonight. My boss is a total bitch if I'm late.
Roberta wants us to name examples of ultranationalism in pre-war Germany.
Which war?
World War II, what planet are you on?
Sorry, just on a new level here. It takes me forever to get my artillery off the beach.
Oh, hey, are you going to the dance? I think dances are kind of lame. No one goes anymore. There's just too much grinding.
You're the one who needs to get to work. One example of ultranationalism in pre-war Germany, and we're out of here.
I don't know, propaganda? There, I've contributed and completed the rubric. Are we good here?
Yes, propaganda developed and encouraged the German love fest.
Make America great again.
What are you talking about?
Donald Trump. You know, make America great again and all that shit about how wonderful America is. I'm gonna build a big, beautiful wall across our southern border and
World War II.
a wall just got 10 feet taller. Ultranationalism can be defined as an extreme form of nationalism. Ultranationalists are usually fanatically loyal to their nation and hostile or openly racist towards others. Some examples of ultranationalists can include Adolf Hitler's Nazi Germany, Joseph Stalin, the USSR, and, tentatively, Donald Trump in America. Adolf Hitler and the Nazis used their power and influence in Germany to get what they wanted, which was to fulfill their ultranationalist goals. After the Treaty of Versailles, the War Guild Clause basically blamed the entirety of World War I on the Germans, and this led to the alienation and loss of lands of the German people. And this alienation, sense of defeat, you could say, helped to develop ultranationalism. You see, a sort of collective rage built in the German psyche, and Hitler was very much aware of this rage, and used it to regain the respect and lands the Germans had lost following World War I, and eventually formed the Nazi group. He used propaganda to convey his message to others, and by the end of the war, he was basically just abusing the emotions of his people to get what he wanted.
Did you get that?
Got it. I am so glad I'm in your group.
Great. That makes one of us.
Hey, do you want to go grab some coffee?
I could definitely use some coffee.
Tim's came out with a brand new flavor. It's so good.
Oh, coffee. Yeah, I don't like coffee. Coffee's over. You need sticks. No.
Training, they shipped us out to England. I survived the crossing pretty much intact. London is a great old time. We spend most of our time chasing skirts, and boy, there are a lot of pretty girls around. So, I get assigned guard duty at a POW camp north of London. Now, there are only a handful of camps here. Most of the POWs are shipped back to Canada. Well, the Brits are worried about invasion. You know, the fatherland invading and letting the POW out to act like a rested army on the ground. So, at this POW camp, I meet Hans here. Now, he don't speak English, but that don't matter much.
So I'm captured when my parachute's caught in a tree. And man, I'm just hanging there like a stuffed turkey, ready to be brought out of the butcher shop. The English forces, they brought me to this camp. But day by useless day, my soul dies. I mean, sure, they feed us. We're treated according to the Geneva Conventions. But I'm just sick at heart that I didn't get to serve my country more honorably.
Hey! Hans!
The Canadian Guard doesn't speak German, and nor do I speak English, but I understand it nonetheless.
Do you want to earn a few extra cigarettes?
Cigarettes?
Yes! Me and my buddies are on mess duty, and if you peel some spuds for us, we will give you cigarettes. Got it? You peel, we give you cigarettes.
So one summer I'm swearing the blood banner, and the next I'm in England peeling potatoes for a Canadian? Man, some days I think it would have been easier to die on the front. Why didn't they send me to the Eastern Front? The casualties are greater there.
Yes, sirree, England is a fine country. Good liquor, fine women, and a built-in chef. I should have signed up years ago. The Army life suits me fine.
Jumping with my voice and in the city, and don't you know that it was grand? Then came along, and sang the proper song, sang a song that I asked her is that what you doing tonight? Hoping you're in the mood because I'm feeling just fine. How's about a corner over table for two? Hoping the music smell is complete on you. Ladies and gents are dancing with the last tune.
We landed in Sicily just behind France. Conditions are, well, rudimentary, to say the least. We try to keep things sterile, but it's a hard environment. We plan to build a proper house for an abandoned building. For the boys, they just keep coming. Burns mostly an ideal with burns. The pain, it's indescribable. All we can do is try our best.
We're waiting. Waiting in England for the invasion. Waiting for some action. Nights are poker and hanging with guys. Girls, Brits call it riding. Blackouts. These are mostly drills and practice maneuvers. Hope we see some action soon. The bombings have started. Crowds are chipping away at the city night after night. It's like being in a boxing match. You know, taking a punch, not being able to punch back. We're ready. Let's go.
I hear the bombing, and I know the German forces are advancing. The guards, they tell us nothing, but I'm ready to fight. I discuss the plan with the other prisoners every day, and when the Fuhrer lands in England, we'll be ready.
So I take a weekend for a loan and head back down to London. You know, there's this girl I want to visit. I never felt this way about a dame before, but she's on my mind. The rest of the guys all think I'm Jane crazy, but I don't know. The rest of them are just going to end up with a bad case of Cupid's itch, if you know what I'm saying. But not me. I'm sure that this is the one. Oh, well, until the next one, of course. I wonder what Pops would say if I brought her back from the war. Oh, yes, sir. Ship now? Yes, sir. Kong Hong. Sir, I was to furlough. No, sir. Thank you, sir. Kong Hong. Where on God's green earth is Kong Hong?
Hong Kong?
Oh, Hong Kong. Well, Hans, old buddy, I'm leaving you here. Looks like I'm on my way to Hong Kong.
Jumping with my voice and in the city, and don't you know that it was grand? Then came along, and sang the proper song, sang a song that I asked her is that what you doing tonight? Hoping you're in the mood because I'm feeling just fine. How's about a corner over table
Burkes arrived in Tabor, we've been able to have a little help on the farm. They live in the old chicken coop, a whole family of them. They're quiet people and hard workers. They always seem kind of sad to me. Those job workers never seem to laugh.
That certain night, the night we met, there was magic abroad in the air. There were angels dining at the Ritz, and a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. I may be right, I may be wrong, but I'm perfectly willing to swear that when you turned and smiled at me, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square. The moon that lingered over London town, poor puzzled moon, he wore a frown. How could he know we two were so in love? The whole wide world seemed upside down. The streets of town were paved with stars. It was such a romantic affair. And when we kissed and said goodnight, a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square.
We built a hospital in an abandoned building. It's nice to finally have clean floors and a roof over our head. There's an operating theater, and I attend the doctors daily. But the boys, they just keep coming. A sea of young faces, and I'm still working primarily with burns.
Knight,
Sir.
I have to give you your orders to ship back to England.
Back to England. Why do they work in below standard?
Oh, no. You're one of the finest nurses we've ever had, and I'm damn sorry to lose you. It seems there's this doctor in London working with burn victims, and he needs the prettiest nurses for his unit.
I'm being shit because I'm pretty?
Well, you are. Look, these boys are in a grim way, and he believes the need to joke and flirt with pretty girls to help them with their recovery. He's doing new work with skin grafts and burn victims. Airmen mostly. When the planes are hit, those boys suffer some pretty bad burns. They may make it down, but they pack up. You ship out tomorrow.
So, back from the front to England and into the charge of the Dr. Bowmanville from Ontario. I work in the Canadian wing of the Royal Victoria Hospital. When you see a man lying there, bandaged from head to toe, with no eyelids, without a nose, it's hard to think of a useful life to come. Harder still to believe he might have love or joy in his future. His life is crashed and burned, and he is perhaps 19, maybe 21. Does he want to die? Quite possibly. He is in agony. If he were a farmer, he would remember the merciful way the gravely injured animal was put down. Does he want to live? Hard to imagine. When everything he saw in his future just a few days ago has disappeared in a blinding flash. These patients nickname themselves guinea pigs because of the new procedure. The grafting of pig skin onto the human body. And a nightingale sang in Berkeley Square.
Oh my draft notification in the mail. Oh, man. Now, since we did not own a car, I would have arrived at the barracks on my bicycle, but what would I have done with it? So I walked. I showed my verbal. It was a little black book they gave you when you had a physical for your draft classification. Well, I showed it to the guard, and he directed me to the office. There, a non-commissioned officer gave me a room number and a locker key. I knew his rank, because he had a lace right here and here. All the boys knew the ranks because of the HJ. Well, I went to room 19. There were at least 8 double-decker beds. The other boys were there already. Man, we cleaned the heck out of that room. And you were all boys, so one night, we had a room fight. You know how boys are. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. So, where are you going, man? About like going to that gas? Oh, now that's just insulting. Get back here. That's on you, man. Somebody hit the handle of his broom on the wall and chucked the plaster fell off. We thought we were all dead, but we filled the hole with soap and they never noticed. You have to remember, we were constantly being prepared for going to war since we were little boys. We knew we were going to be soldiers when we were 10 years old. And there was bound to be a war. So we were prepared in our minds at least. The HJ was much like the Army. They taught us how to shoot, throw grenades, make a red Indian ambush, crawl through barbed wire, all that. We really didn't need much more training to be real soldiers. And we didn't care at all about politics. Show me a boy my age that cares about politics and either call him a genius or a doomkopf. We saw the Americans, the Tommies, and the Russians as our enemies. But we never knew or cared anything about why they were our enemies.
Oh, well, I almost died! Right there. Agnes and I have roomed together since,
Well, since we arrived in the base in Nova Scotia.
the Protector. The base is called the Protector. So anyways, we're cutting across the base, headed towards the hospital, and all of a sudden I feel this sort of twist in my waist. I look down and sure enough,
The button that holds up your panties is popped right off.
no elastic on panties, just buttons. So I'm gonna lose my breeches right there on the bracelet. Agnes is starting to hold up my panties, and she's guiding me towards the building at the same time.
Not to worry, I'm gonna shoot them and press your strap.
So we get in between these two buildings, and she tells me to pack up your skirt. Oh, well, what can I do? I pull up my panties, and she starts to pin them back on. I turn to see that we're at the front of the mess hall, and there must be about 50 men watching us at the window. Agnes took a bow, and I turned 100 shades of red. My cheeks were on fire. Both sets of them.
A buzzard took a monkey for a ride in the air. Monkey thought that everything was on the square. The buzzard tried to throw the monkey off his back, but the monkey turned around and said, now listen, Jack. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, mama, don't you run too tight. Straighten up and fly right. Straighten up and stay right. Straighten up and fly right. Cool down, mama, don't you blow the top.
Ultranationalism, supranationalism, ultra-absorbent. What are we talking here? Sponge towels?
We're on chapter 7, Crimes Against Humanity. How about we make a list?
I have a better idea. Let's play a game. Name the largest genocide in human history.
The Holocaust?
Ooh, good guess, good guess. Second largest, 17.5 million dead, but not quite the largest. Good guess. Get another one.
Cambodia?
Cambodia, not quite. A little short. Go ahead.
The Crimea Civil War or the Nigerian Civil War?
Giving you a 2 for 1 this time. Unfortunately, you're 0 for 2. That's quite
Okay,
unfortunate.
just tell us already.
The European colonization of the Americas, up to 100 million dead. And they say there's never been a war on this soil.
I'd love to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself alone. Catch you and keep you in my arms evermore. Leave all your lovers weeping on a faraway shore. Out on the briny with the moon big and shiny, melting your heart of stone. I'd love to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself alone. To and keep you in my arms evermore. Leave all your lovers weeping on a faraway shore. Out on the briny with the moon big and shiny, melting your heart of stone. I'd love to get you on a slow boat to China, all to myself alone.
When I arrived in Ontario for training, I thought I'd seen everything. Well, then I landed in England. In England, the sights made my mind whirl. But this is truly a new world. Hong Kong. Oh, now, we had a couple of Chinamen at the table, mostly left over from the coolies that worked the railroad. Oh, my pops took us to eat at the Chinese place once. I never took to eating with sticks, but the people here, though, they're right good at it. I've seen things here that I can't even begin to describe to the people back home. Whoa! And the girls, well, I thought them English dames were an eyeful, but these China dolls are unbelievable. They got this real, quiet way about them. They're perfect, just perfect.
My name is Boy. It's Chinese for fire. I'm 14 years old. At 4 o'clock in the morning, soldiers come to my home. My father's gone to the war, and I'm looking after my younger brothers and sisters. They take me to a train, and we ride for 2 hours. When the train stops, we try to escape, but all the exits are blocked by military police. We spent the night on the train. In the morning, we arrived in Kowloon in Hong Kong. Fully armed soldiers were waiting for us with a truck and a jeep. We were taken to a house in which a number of women were crowded. We were taken to the dining room, and we were forced to sit on the ground, and we were divided into groups of 10. I was forced to become a comfort woman. When soldiers would come back from battle, as many as 20 men would go into one girl's room at a time. They would take girls still in school. Their genitals are young, so there's tearing and infection. No one talked. Over weeping, I was taken to a room. When soldiers would come in, I would resist with all my might, and when he tried to remove my clothes, I would shout no. He would leave. The next soldier was a drunk. He waved his knife at me and threatened to kill me if I didn't do what he said. And in the end, he stabbed me here. I was taken to the infirmary, and I was treated for 20 days, and my wound was much better, but I still had the plaster on my chest. The next soldier didn't care about the plaster, and when I wouldn't do what he said, he seized my wrist and he threw me out of the room. He
So me and my buddies are walking down the street, close to the British-Chinese garrison. Now, things have been tense. We're on an alert for an invasion by the Japanese, and I sees this girl, this beautiful girl. Chinese. She looks sort of young, but it's hard to tell her age. So I cross the street, and I start walking towards her, and I notice she's got a bandage coming out of the top of her blousy pajama thing. She's holding her wrist. At this point, the guys are all yelling at me to get a move on. So Ice tells them to blow it out your barracks bags. This one may be my OAO. You know, one and only. But this beautiful girl with the saddest eyes is walking towards me. She lowers her head. They all do. Lower their heads. It's a custom. Just then, it drops! Right there in the middle of the road! Someone must have thrown it from one of the rooftops! A grenade! Lying right there in the middle of the road!
There's two of them. They're standing on the front porch. I asked them, is there anything I can help you with? They asked for Papa. We regret to inform you. And so on. Words, tears, words in shock. John threw himself onto a hand grenade in order to save the men around him. We present you with this memorial cross as a symbol of your sacrifice. And so on, and words and shock. The faint light from the late afternoon filters through the front window. The farmhouse is warm, and dust from the fields hangs in the air. The world pauses and rushes on, all in one moment.
get away from this hospital and dance with some able-bodied boys who'll make us forget all the blood and the puking and God knows what other fluids are dumped out of uniforms daily. Come with me. Margaret, Saskatchewan is a long way off. The SS Caribou leaves from right for North Sydney and will be back by ship change on Monday.
Oh, you're cacky-wacky. I'm not looking for a fella, but you've talked me into it. Of course I won't flirt half as much as you.
Well, of course not. You don't have it in you.
I have been chosen! The honor will only go to the few who are true to our fear. They say only the most beautiful, blonde-haired, blue-eyed girls are allowed to present carnations to the fear, and I have been selected. I will even wear a new white dress and a lovely white ribbon in my hair. When he comes and steps out of the motorcade and steps toward the building, I'll be there to curtsy and present him with these white carnations. Carnations are his favorite. I will then get to hear him speak to the National Socialist Women's League. I'm so excited. The SS officers came to my house directly to tell me the news. They said I could bring a neighbor girl with me if I wanted. But I said, oh no. The only girl left in this neighborhood is that Jewish girl, Rebecca, and she isn't even blonde.
The SS rumbled past the house. They stopped and go on to the neighbors. I watched from behind the lace as they entered Brigitte's house. Mother and I have been living day to day wondering when we'll be rounded up. Everyone we know is gone. We wonder why they haven't come for us. Perhaps it is because my father was a good soldier in World War I. Perhaps we can stay small as mice and sneak away from the big boots. They are in our house for what seems like a lifetime. I watch them exit. Brigitte's long blonde hair swings as she closes the door. They slowly turn on the step. They're looking at the gardens below the window. They must notice the spring flowers bursting through the dirt. They stroll down her walk and close the low iron gate that marks her coffin. Strange faces lift and turn. Strange hands rise and pull. The day is gray, and I watch in the street the reflection as they stroll towards our house. Heavy breathing. I hold my breath. Step away from the window. All the waiting is over.
I am rotting in Britain. The invasion is the whisper on everyone's lips. Nightly, the crowds bomb the hell out of the city, and daily we pray for the day we hit back. Motorcades roll in, dignitaries tour around and leave. Tomorrow, they will do it again. Yesterday, I was lucky not to get myself court-martialed. This group was touring through the mess while I was eating. I stand, salute, and eat. This pretty girl comes up to me and starts to ask me about the food, and do I like it, and is it like home? So, I give her a wink. Straight out ask her if she wants to have dinner with a real Canadian boy. Oh, well, the coughing and gasping, you'd think I had a short circuit between the earphones. Everyone standing there all slack-shod. A pretty girl turns to me and says,
"Oh, no, thank you, soldier. I'm expected home for tea."
and she walks away. I go back to eat my hash. Everyone's still staring at me like half my face fell off. What? What's your problem? Well, then they tell me it was Princess Elizabeth. Hey, how was I supposed to know? She should have a crown or a wand or something. How's a working stiff supposed to know?
I'm training with a special new weapon. It's a series of tanks fit on my back and shoots a stream of fire up to 10 meters. ferocious roar of fuel licking. Well, they used them on those Jews in the Warsaw ghettos during the riots. They're very useful in urban settings. I was told by the training officer they're designing another flamethrower. This one shoot up to 14 meters. It's an exciting new weapon that'll guarantee our victory.
Oh, he said I was lovely. Yes, lovely. And I got to stand at the front when he spoke to all the women. It was as if he were speaking directly to me. The Führer knows that German women need no emancipation. We are to be the keepers of the family and the home. Once we are married, the Führer will loan us 1,000 marks. And we'll pay back 75% if we have one child, 50% for 2 children, 25% for a third, and we'll pay nothing if we have 4 children. 4 children will get me a bronze cross, 6 children a silver cross, and 8 children a gold cross. German women should not wear trousers, makeup, or high heels. A lovely family has moved in across the road where the Jew used to live. They have many wonderful small children, and their oldest boy is very handsome in his uniform. Praise the Lord and trust the ammunition. Praise the Lord and trust the ammunition. Praise the Lord and trust the ammunition. And all stay free. Praise the Lord and trust the ammunition. And the Lord to be a politician. Praise the Lord and trust the ammunition.
We were in our bunks, Agnes and I, on our way to Puerto Vez, when we were thrown across the room. And we scrambled onto the deck, and there was a great commotion.
People were yelling that a Nazi submarine had torpedoed us.
It didn't seem real.
Why would a Nazi submarine torpedo civilian ferry in Canadian waters?
I found it hard to believe.
People were running everywhere.
And the ferry was listening to the port side.
The lifeboats had capsized.
When they were lowered into the North Atlantic, Agnes and I knew that we were going to be swimming.
It didn't take long for the ship to go down.
And we were in the water. I swam over to the capsized life raft, and I managed to get a pretty good grab onto the side. I called back for Agnes. She was right there behind me.
I grabbed on. It was cold.
Oh, it's your regular cold. And there we bobbed. I thought at first the Coast Guard would be right along. I told Agnes so. Agnes, we're going to be out of this water and back on land before you know. We tried to stay as close together as possible.
Save what he did have.
Time can move awful slow.
Time in the dark, in that cold water.
Time was barely creeping by.
At first, we talked a bit.
Then nothing.
It took too much to speak.
We just looked at each other from time to time.
I can't, Margaret.
That's all she said. Now, you hold on, Agnes, will you? My God, you hold on.
I can't.
And I could feel her body go slack in the water. I put my arm around her. I could feel her pulse. But she was unconscious. And there we floated. Me and my pal Agnes. Hanging there. The hours are creeping by and I'm so tired. There's a sliver of light, just low on the horizon, and I just keep thinking about daylight. I just keep promising myself if I could just make it to daylight. And then, I didn't mean to, but there was a large wave and I lost my grip
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut trees, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you.
Auschwitz-Birkenau. The woman I meet on the train to Auschwitz is Sharon from Bedsin, Poland. She has hidden her only child in Bedsin. She entrusted her daughter to her Polish friends. When the Nazis came, they did not know about the child. She fears she'll never see her daughter again. You can remain vertical on the train. There are so many people. We hold each other up. I'm very thirsty. Many people cry. Many people pray. The rush of air assaults us once we revive. Black smoke and the smell of burning flesh. I'm coughing. I'm choking. I know we've arrived in the fire of hell. There is great chaos. My mother and I are separate at once. I'm in jail. I'm stuck. No! I'm sorry. Turns back before being pushed up. Sarah and I moved together. I don't know what is happening. Sarah squeezes my hand. They separate us and lead me to the shelves. I am to be deloused before being given a work assignment and a new uniform. Sarah's touch, it burns my hand. And I move forward with the group.
I put soap in the walls of the dormitory when I was in training. Now I put soap in the showers of Auschwitz. This soap will never be used. It is a ruse to keep them quiet. They leave their clothing in a changing house and move naked into the showers. The soap does not work. They know what awaits them. And as the crying and begging starts, I have to shove the last of them in before I'm able to get the door closed. The chamber is as crowded as we can make it. The door is closed. You know those women? Always push the children to the floor and lay on top of them, trying to save them from the gas. That machine, though, the mechanism that turns on the gas sometimes goes kaput. It is overstressed on the machinery. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You just can't expect a machine to work at this level day and night.
Rebecca goes to the showers. And I am sent to wait in the wooden sheds. The next day, they take us. I am naked when I hear the guard shout.
Kaput!
The door opens, and we are sent back to the changing houses to dress. By chance, at this moment, the machine does not work. I am spared for today. The next day, we are sent to Bergen-Belsen. I'm to work as slave laborer for the great German war machine. I know that Rebecca and many others are gone, but I still hold on to hope. Hope I'll see my little girl again. I beg a piece of paper and a pencil from a mother, and I write, "My dear, beloved little child, I do not know, my dear child, if I will ever see you again. I take with me from home your picture, which I love so much. I'm taking along your lovely chatter, the smell of your innocent little body, the rhythm of your innocent breathing. Your smile. I am taking along your last image, the sweet taste of your childish kisses. Could it be that Providence will allow me to survive this nightmare and to regain you, my treasure?
Better grab a chair and sit down straight. You're gonna get some news of a military nature. Relax while I give you the latest report. Sport that I wrote was a finer sight when all our boys were faced to fight for D-Day, D-Day, D-Day. It'll take more than a weekend, so let's be patient and calm. Cut out that public speaking, or we'll be the victims of a false alarm. We're going to help work in it too. Survive those bonds, and I do mean you for D-Day, D-Day,
June 6th. We landed on Juno Beach. The awesome power of it is hard to describe. Wave after wave of soldiers stormed the beach. 150 flamethrowers went into those waters and 100 were recovered on the beach. I was lucky. A 75-pound pack with 5 gallons of fuel, and I made it. The cost was high. 9,000 Allied forces gave their lives for that slim slice of beach. In one day, we gained the toehold we needed to begin our march towards Germany. We amassed 100,000 troops and began our move across Europe.
The Allied forces have landed in. The fighting on the Eastern Front has increased. I'm back from Poland and to be reassigned to the border of France. We're all shocked at the landing, but we have faith that our 21 Panzer Division will drive a division between the Allies.
We encountered German troops at St. Andre-sur-Orne. We were making our way east and passed through the city of Caen, which was completely destroyed. Tanks with huge mechanical shovels had to clear the way so we could pass through with our vehicles.
The Allied forces continued to advance and we withdrew to the Reichswald Forest. We set snipers in the trees and machine guns everywhere. Along the edge of the forest, we built bunkers.
We were alone in the forest, the Reichswald Forest. Snipers lined the trees. There were machine guns everywhere, big machine guns. To get close to the forest, I jumped up in the back of my gun carrier. A flamethrower in one hand, and in the other a Browning machine gun that fired 700 rounds a minute. I fired everywhere to get closer to the woods. That's when I was shot in the arm. I told the driver to continue on. The blood poured down my arm and it burned. We carried on. As we got closer to the forest, we set fire to the woods and made our way around the edges. There was still bunkers at the edges of the woods. But we got around the hedges.
So what are you guys going to write about? Propaganda, ultranationalism, or crimes against humanity?
I'm not sure.
I don't think it matters. Instead, you can pick any of them.
They're kind of a bundle, don't you think? Writing about one is like writing about them all, intertwined.
My name is Sarah Gerlin. I survived Auschwitz-Birkenau and the slave camps of Bergen-Belsen. I was reunited with my daughter. How did this happen? This war was fueled by a burning hatred and cool indifference.
My name is Maggie Bartlett. I was a Canadian nursing sister, and after serving with burn victims, I could not sleep. My mental health was hanging by a thread. Modern doctors today would call it PTSD. So, instead they sent me to Germany to work with the survivors of Auschwitz.
My name is Maurice Bozet. I was decorated for my actions in the Reichswald Forest. The greatest joy in my life was when I was told I was to return to Canada. I said to myself that it is over. There should be no more war. I was never a violent person, see, and when I began working at the post office, I made friends with everyone.
My name is Brigitte Eich. I'm 86. I still live in Berlin. My son always said to me, how could you have been so oblivious? I never saw a thing. It was only when I visited Buchenwald in the 1970s that I saw photographs of the camps. It took me years to realize what had gone on.
My name is Hans Becker. I was released after the war, and I immigrated to Canada.
My name was Fritz Brandt. I burned to death in the Reichswald Forest 1 week prior to the end of the war.
My name is Rudolf Wolf. I was tried in 1947 at Nuremberg and sentenced to life imprisonment for my role in the extermination of Jews at Auschwitz-Birkenau. I was released in 1955 under the Amnesty Act.
My name was Boyd. I died on January 27th of 2007 at the age of 86. I became an opium addict to mask the pain of what I was accomplished.
My name was John Osborne, and I received the Victoria Cross for throwing myself on a hand grenade and saving the men around me. I'll be damned. They even built a statue of me in a park in Hong Kong.
My name was Margaret Brooke. The offshore patrol ship, the Dr. Margaret Brooke, was named after me for my actions in the Cabot Strait on October 14, 1942. I lived in Victoria, BC until my death in January earlier this year. I was 100 years old.